Hey guys, so about 2 weeks ago, I found two YouTube channels by the name of Baby Jamie 1 and CMB Unfiltered. I'll link both of them down below, but they basically inspired me to do this video, this kind of content. So I'm going to be reading Reddit stories for you guys to help you focus, sleep, or eat, I think. um, well, yeah, I like playing Minecraft, and I think this is a pretty great niche to try and get into, so I hope you'll consider subscribing and supporting my channel. Yeah, that's all. Let's get into the Reddit stories. So the first story reads like this. I'm 42M and have two kids living with me. My daughter Anya, 17F, and my stepson Noah, 14M. Noah's mom passed a few years ago, and I've had full custody since. He's had a rough go of it, but he's a good kid with his quirks. He's not antisocial or shy, but he doesn't appreciate having his space invaded, and when very upset, he can kinda shut down. Anya is much more outgoing and has a lot of friends. She asked to have a sleepover this weekend with 4 of her friends. Of course, I said yes, but given that the friends who were coming were pretty loud and had a tendency to crowd Noah, I told her to make sure that they didn't go into her brother's room. Also, I told her to keep the noise down after 11 so that the house can sleep. In my opinion, these aren't strict rules. To my surprise, I came upstairs to check on them at about 10. They're 17, so I didn't think I needed to check on them every hour or something, but they were in Noah's room. They looked like they'd been there a while. 2 were literally sitting on his bed with him there. One of them was flipping through his sketchbook, and another one was messing with his other stuff. They were all kind of giggling in this weird way. Noah was clearly upset. He didn't say anything or move, but there were tears in his eyes, and he didn't respond when I tried to talk to him. I told the girls to get out right then, and that I was calling every single one of their parents. Anya was pretty upset with me, but I told her that I gave them 2 rules, and they failed spectacularly. I did actually call all of their parents and send them home as soon as possible. Anya completely blew up, saying I embarrassed her. I told her to go to her room, and that we would speak on this in the morning. I spent about 20 minutes with Noah before he decided he wanted to cool down on his own, and I went back to my daughter, who chose not to speak to me. It's late, both of my kids are hopefully asleep, and I'm left not knowing if I handled things right. Am I the asshole? Well, pretty interesting story. I definitely think the OP's not the asshole. His daughter was sort of invading his stepson's space. I agree with his decision on grounding the daughter. I don't think that's over the line. I think she should be taught consequences, and it should be a strong precedent on what happens if she continues to violate people's boundaries, especially when somebody like Noah looks like he's completely and clearly uncomfortable. I think it's great that OP has Noah's back as well. Being that he's the stepson, I would think that Noah feels like he's not as much a son than like his sister. I guess, I don't know if you guys understand, but I think Noah would really appreciate that his stepdad stood up for him, especially against his own daughter. And at the same time, he made his daughter learn about accountability, and he helped his stepson go through his grief. He helped him process the grief by standing up for him. So I think Opie's not the asshole in this scenario. What do you guys think? The next story goes like this. My 36M sister, 34F, moved into my house about 2 months ago with 2 kids, 7M and 4F, after she ended a really bad relationship. I've always been an early-ish riser, and I like to get up and make myself some breakfast around 7 or 8 a.m. Nothing spectacular, just whatever I felt like that day. When my sister moved in, I realized quickly that she liked to sleep in. Some days she was up as late as 1 p.m. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, since I knew how hard her breakup was for her. Since my sister slept in almost daily, she wouldn't get up and take care of her kids. I got into a routine with my niece and nephew that basically whatever I cooked myself for breakfast, I'd make enough for them as well until the next morning. So today I woke up and I had an urge to make huevos rancheros. The kids immediately started complaining that they didn't want that and wanted something different. I was nice and ended up making them pancakes since it's not their fault that their mom was really struggling. The next morning, I was making breakfast potatoes and eggs, but all I heard was, "We don't want that. We want something different." So again, I obliged. Finally, after 3 mornings of my unwanted food critics getting a separate meal, I finally told them, "I'm no longer cooking 2 different meals for breakfast. If you don't like what I'm making, go ask your mom to get up and do it." So they went upstairs to wake her up, but she still didn't come downstairs until after 1 p.m. The kids immediately started complaining that I refused to feed them, and my sister was pissed. Started talking about how they needed to be fed by a certain time and a bunch of other things that she said to try and intentionally hurt me. I snapped, and I told her, "Look, I know you're depressed, but wake up and take care of your fucking kids instead of expecting me to do it." Whew. She got quiet after that and is still giving me the cold shoulder, but I know she's expecting me to apologize. Sorry this was long-winded, but let me have it. Am I the asshole? Right. This guy, definitely not the asshole. I mean, bro, this sister wakes up 1 p.m., doesn't take care of her kids. I mean, yeah, she's probably depressed about her breakup. Maybe she's struggling to get out of bed, but dude, 1 p.m.? Come on, man. I'd sure as hell not start cooking food for my niece and nephew if they kept critiquing whatever I was making for breakfast. Like I'm making it for myself. At their age, especially, kids I think need food to develop. So, I mean, that's on their mom. And I think, was her relationship actually, was it really bad, or was it her fault that she was this lazy and the partner decided to end it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't have all the cards here, so I'm not jumping to conclusions, but maybe she just started not taking care of the kids. Maybe she started neglecting her duties. So, I don't know. Right. The next story reads like this. So 2 years ago, my parents' marriage ended because my mom found out Dad was cheating and had another woman pregnant. Poof. My sisters and I, 17M, 15F, and 14F, wanted nothing to do with Dad afterward, and he was not given any formal custody. It was a decision left for us to decide if we wanted to see him. Obviously, we didn't. He had a daughter with the other woman around a year ago. Now, their daughter was taken by CPS and is currently sitting in foster care. My grandparents, my dad's parents, wanted my mom to raise her so we will know her and so she will have us growing up. Mom, of course, said no. At the same time, they were trying to pressure us into accepting visits with her so she'll know us anyway, but my sisters and I are not interested at all. My guess is they want us to meet her, so we'll ask Mom to raise her. Mom did get a call and was asked if she would take her by a social worker, but her no was the last contact we had with the social worker. We only had contact once before that, where she was asked if visits between us and the girl were wanted. Obviously, they weren't. My mom tried to keep me and my sisters out of it, but I have heard her lose her cool and answer the phone to tell my grandparents to leave her alone. I also heard my grandparents call her names and remind her over and over that my sisters and I are related to this girl, and my mom should want us to know each other and be close. I heard my mom cry the other night, so I called my grandparents and told them to leave my mom alone. They tried to defend themselves, but I told them to stop. I brought up them calling my mom cruel earlier that day, and I asked them how they could be cruel. I asked why they didn't want to take their granddaughter, and I asked why they wanted her to be somewhere where she's not wanted or loved or cared about. They spluttered over the phone, but I didn't let them really speak, and I told them that's exactly what they're trying to set her up for, and it's not good. I told them none of us want her here or want a relationship, and they're the cruel ones trying to force her in here anyway. They went crazy yesterday over what I said. Mom finally blocked them, but they're also trying to make themselves heard via social media. Am I the asshole? Right, so. Dude, definitely not the asshole. I mean, this kid's just trying to stick up for his mom. His mom got cheated on, fucking, like, good on the mom for raising a young man like OP. I mean, he's definitely not the asshole here. and he just wants his mom to be happy, and he wants what's best for the daughter. I mean, for the stepsister, I guess. She wasn't gonna be needed here, and she wasn't gonna be wanted around in this household. So I think OP's logic is pretty sound. All right, so right now I think a lot of you are probably gonna be wondering why the hell I'm always underwater and why I keep trying to mine with doors and creating my own little air pockets. But I find mining like this and finding ores like underwater is like, it's more relaxing. I feel like it's more effective as well, because you can find a lot more stuff underwater when you're moving like quicker. You know what I mean? When you're swimming, you're quicker. So it just beats the monotony of like strip mining or going caving or whatnot. I've been playing Minecraft for a while now, so I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments if you guys think it's pretty weird. I don't know. But alright, so moving on to the next Reddit story. This one's a two-parter, and it reads, I'm a 16-year-old girl, and my dad is a 57-year-old man. I love my parents a lot, and I am so grateful for all the things that they do to provide for me. However, me and my dad have always had a bit of a strange relationship. He isn't very good at communicating, and sometimes it feels like I can't talk to him about anything. Yo, real man. This does bother me, but the real issue in our house is that my mom does everything. Every day she makes dinner, does the dishes, laundry, etc. On top of this, she recently started remotely working full-time again, and she is currently going back to college to get her master's degree. I do everything I can to help her out, but I can only do so much. My dad works full-time, and that's it. He never does any chores or helps around the house at all. He does work a labor-heavy job, and I understand it's tiring, but he could at least give our dog a bath or make dinner for himself or something. Both me and my mom have said many times that we want him to help around the house, and he always says he will, but he never does anything. He did the dishes a couple of times, but he didn't do it thoroughly enough, and there was still food on them, so my mom had to re-wash them. I've honestly gotten really tired of this, as it's been going on for years. Well, here's where I might be the asshole. This happened 3 days ago. My mom was in class that night, so she hadn't gotten an opportunity to do the laundry yet, and there was a basket of dirty clothes in my parents' room. My dad offhandedly remarked, "Gee, there sure are a lot of dirty clothes laying around." This made me really annoyed. I told him that he was a grown man, and if he wanted clean clothes, he could do a load of laundry himself. My dad looked surprised at this, and told me to calm down. I have a tendency of speaking harshly to people when I'm irritated, and this was unfortunately one of those moments. So I told him that, I swear to God, if you don't shape up and start doing some actual work around here, Mom is gonna want a divorce. I knew immediately I shouldn't have said it, and he left the room looking really angry. Not sure if it's relevant, but he has been married 2 times before by Mom. I told my mom about this, and she says that while he should do more work, what I said was really mean, and the divorce comment was completely unnecessary. When my dad got home from work the next day, I tried to apologize, but he completely ignored me and just went outside. It's been 3 days, and he hasn't said a word to me, even though I've tried to say sorry multiple times. My house is now really tense since my dad is also mad at my mom because he thinks she wants to get a divorce. I feel horrible, but honestly, deep down, I still agree with the comment I said to him. So, am I the asshole? Right. I mean, there's another update after this, which I will read for you guys, but it's multifaceted, man. There's too many angles to view this on. I mean, on one hand, she wants to defend her mom. I mean, a lot of the time, moms do carry a lot of the weight around the household, at least where I'm from. And I always get pissed whenever my dad doesn't do any work in the house, especially housework, chores, doing the dishes, whatnot. I think a lot of that is to do with just misogyny. So I think on that hand, the daughter was right in defending her mom, but saying that the mom was gonna want a divorce for her, but because her dad didn't want to help around the house, might be a bit out of line. She might have let her handle loose. So I'm on the fence about it. I think she isn't the asshole because overall she's just trying to defend her mom. And I get that a lot of the time when you're mad at somebody, when you're annoyed, especially when you're frustrated to the point where OP is, you'd probably say something out of line. And I think she should work on that first, but overall I think she was in the right for defending her mom. Maybe just not that harshly. Right, and here's the update to that story. So about 2 days after I had posted on here, my parents sat me down and said they wanted to talk. I was prepared to get a lecture about how what I said was out of line, but that's not what happened. Apparently, the reason my dad had gotten so upset at the comment I made was that it hit a little too close to home. It turns out my dad had been cheating on my mom for about a year with one of his coworkers, and my mom found out a few months ago. The reason she went back to work was because she needed financial independence to get divorced. They said they hadn't been planning on telling me, but my dad decided I was mature enough to know the truth and that I deserved to know. They said they would probably be separated by the end of the year. This situation was completely out of left field, to be honest, because while my dad might not have been the best at doing the dishes, I never thought he would have an affair. My dad has talked to me about how he was so sorry for what he's been doing and that he hoped I didn't view him differently. I tried to be kind and not say any more unnecessary comments, but I did let him know that I was really disappointed in him. I needed to get out of the house, so I've been staying with my friend for the past couple of days, processing everything. So while what I said to him might have been shitty, it resulted in me finding the truth about what was going on, so I'm kind of glad that I did it. I'm sorry that this update isn't the happiest or anything, but overall, I am doing okay. And thank you again to everyone who commented on my first post. I appreciate it a lot. Whoa. That's crazy. I mean, so what she said was so she basically was saying something not that far from the truth. That's why her dad stormed out. Dude, I I can't believe that. I don't know that this is a real story, but if it is, that's got to be one of the craziest coincidences ever. Cause like, imagine telling your dad that your mom's gonna want a divorce, and like they've been working on it in the like behind your back this whole time. Jesus. I mean, I think at this point, no, OP's not the asshole at all. She went out of line in the context that she didn't know that her dad was cheating on her mom, but in this context, bro, I'd swing. Like, I would definitely understand that she wanted her dad to shape up or get shipped out. And I mean, in this case, he is getting shipped out. He's probably not gonna find another person like her mom again. So I really hope Opie's doing well with her mom, and I hope her mom finally did get divorced and is happier without her dad. So yeah, I mean, crazy Reddit story nonetheless. So, well, on to the next one. The next one reads, when I, F17, was born, my mother was diagnosed with a brain tumor. One of her symptoms was mood swings and reduced ability to judge her actions. I was just a baby and she couldn't take care of me, so I moved in with my grandparents. My father had his own business, and that took up a lot of his time. My mother's only company were my older brothers, who were over 12 years old. Until the age of 10, I lived with my grandparents. They had a neighbor named Alice who considered me her daughter. She took me to school, bought me gifts, taught me other languages, gave me advice, and traveled with me. I rarely saw my mother, so Alice became my mother figure. After many surgeries and chemotherapy, my mother was finally saved. It was difficult for me to move into her house because I barely knew her. Every day I called Alice, and at least once a week she would take me to her house or some fun outing. Sometimes my mother tried to cut off our contact, and this made me very resentful. When I was 12 years old, my father filed for divorce. The only reason he was still married was my mother's illness. Soon after, he announced that he was dating Alice. According to my mother and older brothers, the two had been having an affair for over 10 years. I remembered the times my mother had been jealous of my relationship with Alice, and I thought things made sense. Despite everything, I haven't walked away from Alice, and she's my best friend. I started going on trips with her and my dad. The relationship with my mother took a turn for the worse, and I was constantly scolded for liking Alice so much. Since then, I've tried to pay more attention to my mother and show more love. I know your life was hard, and I try to make up for lost time, and things were going well. Last week, my father announced his engagement to Alice. He invited me and my brothers Luke, male 29, and Simon, male 31. Both declined the invitation, but I accepted. My brothers were furious with me. They said I was being an asshole for celebrating a wedding that came out of a betrayal of our mother. I asked my mom how she would feel if I went to the wedding, and she said she would feel betrayed and didn't know how our relationship would bounce back after that. I really want to be present at the wedding. I love Alice like a second mother. I would feel like an asshole if I didn't go to the wedding, but I also feel like an asshole if I did go to the wedding. Am I the asshole? Alright, let's take it back a notch, bro. You just said that you just said that Alice feels like a second mother. Your real mother is just recovered from chemotherapy, from cancer. She's probably in remission or something. Still trying to recover, still trying to, adjust to her life at home. And you think that it's an appropriate thing to go to her, basically, who her spouse cheated on. Their wedding, bro. It's like you're giving them your blessing. That's just, in so many ways, that's so fucked up. I would decline the invitation, 100%. I tell the dad to get home. Good riddance, man. I'm never gonna see you again, ever in my life. So, I can't believe Opie. Opie's definitely the asshole. I definitely think she's the asshole, bro. Oh my god. That ever happened to me, I don't think I would ever talk to my dad again. The fact that she thought about it too, and she thought that it was appropriate for her to go to the wedding, it's just a no-brainer, man. Come on. Have some decency. Alright. The next story reads, I go to a pretty competitive college, and I'm in the pre-med program. I had a giant lecture 2 semesters ago, and like every class with a giant lecture, someone created a mass group chat for everybody and shared the link via WhatsApp. There were 300 people in this group, or whatever the max is on the app. We had lab reports every 3 weeks, each around 5 to 10 pages in length. A girl, Sarah, took to the group chat and asked if anyone would write her lab report for $100. I got kind of pissed about this. The rest of us were spending 10 plus hours on this report. Why should she get out of it and get a good grade just because she can afford to pay somebody else? I started paying attention to the chat a little more, and Sarah kept asking for answers to quizzes and saying awful things about the professor, and blaming her for how hard the class was. This is my biggest pet peeve, especially because our professor was way nicer than most. It really set me off, and I went back and took screenshots of all the times she asked for answers and the times she asked if anyone would write her lab report. Note, she negotiated the price. They worked out a place to meet up, and it wasn't a passive joke. WhatsApp shows your cell phone number, and you get to pick a username, and she put her full name in. This was last spring semester, so I let it go for a while. I have her in a class again this semester, and she's not dumb, she's just lazy. But I see her doing the same thing. She cheats on half the assignments, and I found out that she's got a 3.9 GPA. That's unheard of at this school. Our school has a zero tolerance for plagiarism. If you're caught with damning evidence, you're expelled. Degree progress revoked. Assuming her MCAT is fine, this girl's got her pick of the litter for med school. She's got tons of volunteer and shadow hours, even research. Loads of free time when you're not doing your own work after all. Obviously, that goes bye-bye if she is expelled. I still have all the screenshots. More and more I want to report her, mostly because I'm bitter about how much better her application is than mine, which makes me feel like an ass. Am I the asshole if I reported her for buying her lab report? So the OP included a few edits into this story. Edit 1. Most of our classes are curved to some degree. Her doing artificially better for cheating does negatively impact other grades, particularly on one class where only 90th percentile of students get a 4 for the class. Edit 2. This girl and I are applying to different schools. She's going MD and I want to do DO. But when I say I'm bitter about how much better her app is, I don't know if this makes a difference, but it's because I think it's unfair that myself and other students should be compared to her when she's got unfair advantages. Kinda like steroids on athletes. Also, this was a pattern of cheating. She's done similar in this class as well, though not in a group chat. I've just heard her talk about it because we were in the same lab section. Alright. I think this is a really hard line to toe, because on one hand, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be snitching, especially when this rides on her future. But I think if he did report her, I wouldn't blame her. I wouldn't blame him. It's not. I wouldn't say that OP was being an asshole for reporting, but at the same time, he was motivated because her application was better. I don't know. It's kind of hard to judge without more context, but I think he's not the asshole if he does report her. I think that's definitely she'll get what's coming to her, and I think it's gonna be just better for the world if somebody like her wasn't a doctor. But yeah, I guess that's just that's just the way these stories go, bro. All right, so at this point, I think I mean I've got myself a shield. I've got myself a chest plate. Pretty good. I'm just looking for more iron, scrounging around for a full iron armor set. And then I can actually go caving, try and find some diamonds. I mean, the shipwreck earlier did give me a diamond, but I mean, it's a diamond, man. Well, here's the next Reddit story. I was out at happy hour with a few of my coworkers, James, Nate, and Ethan. I'm good friends with Ethan, but I don't know Nate too well, and I don't really care for James, though I've kept that to myself. So I was mainly there to hang out with Ethan. Nate and Ethan wanted to talk privately about some work thing, so like some disagreement with a client, and at one point I was alone with James. I started to feel like he was hitting on me, being kind of flirty and touchy, and I was not into it. I was giving one-word answers and playing with my phone rather than reciprocating. I felt a little awkward telling him to stop it because he was towing the line of plausible deniability. Huge word. And I felt like he'd probably just say he hadn't been doing anything. I turned on my phone's voice recorder app though, and I always do it when I suspect someone is crossing a line. It saved my ass before. It is legal in my state to record like that, and it was on when James asked me if I wanted to get out of here. So I asked, to where? And he said, maybe we could go to my car and listen to that music. And I said, huh? And what else? And he kind of stuttered, and he said that he'd like to get to know me better and spend some time with me. It's pretty sus. This guy's weird. I asked, what about your wife? And he started telling me about how they're practically roommates, only together for the kids, how she's probably been seeing other people too. I didn't say much, just nodded along for a while until he was done. And then I said, nah, I'm not into that, and I excused myself to the bathroom. I was pissed off that James would try to cheat on his wife. I met her, and she's a sweet lady. I was also pissed off that he'd try to get with me, his co-worker. I used to work at a different company with really shitty company culture, and I've become fed up with old-ass married engineers who try to fuck the new young employee. I just do not want to deal with that. So, I sent an email to James' wife, whose email I knew since she had replied to a company mailing list email about a holiday party. And I said, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm blank, and I work with your husband. We met at the last company Christmas party. I'm really sorry to have to tell you like this, but your husband is trying to cheat on you. I know that it might be hard to believe coming from a near stranger, so I've attached a recording of that. I got a reply from her kind of lashing out at me for leading him on and for trying to hurt her by attaching the recording, which really hurt to hear. I really wasn't trying to lead him on. The only reason I was asking leading questions like to where and what else were to get him to say what he was doing. But I'm questioning whether it was too much to send the actual audio. I feel for her. It must have hurt to hear. Am I the asshole for sending that voice recording? Man, these stories, bro, they get harder and harder to judge. I mean, I think at this point, the coworker's blatantly trying to get with you. He's trying to get with you, and blatantly cheat on his wife. So even though you did kind of lead him on with the questions, I wouldn't say that you're the asshole just because of that. And at the end of the day, he made the decision to want to cheat on his wife and actively try and pursue another woman. So I would say you're not the asshole. I think OP was just trying to look out for his wife, you know. Yeah. Well, that concludes about 6 Reddit stories I've read for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna try and post more videos like this. Please comment down below if you guys want anything to be changed. Maybe the music was too loud or the game sound was too loud. I'm open to all suggestions. And sorry if there was a bit of stuttering. My English isn't really my first language, so I please bear with me. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys will stick around for more. Subscribe if you like this video, and please leave a comment. It'll take you like 10 seconds. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in the next one.